travel. There in the tall timber I figured my fortune to make. I was young and my mind filled with visions of being a logger. Not once realizing I was making a terrible mistake. These loggers don't talk like most people you find. You'd swear they're from some foreign land. It was never the hard work that I couldn't take. It's a language I don't understand. There were trees they called school marms and pale trees and trees I can't mention. I just couldn't understand half of the things that they said. And them big steel cables they used to pull in the trees with. They had a name for a splice in it that made this poor boy's face turn red. These loggers don't talk like most people you find. You'd swear they're from some foreign land. It was never the hard work that I couldn't take. It's a language I don't understand. Wake up before the dawn, lace my cork boots on. It's spring again, the best time of the year. The sun comes peeping through to kiss away the morning dew, and birds are singing all you're gonna hear. All through the canyons and the hillside, the male birds are singing to the new bride, and it makes you feel good inside. To a lonely logger brings a little cheer. And now, here's my good friend Walt Rogers to take the melodic strains of this beautiful composition and bring it into material manifestation up on the fiddle.
Morning, Marcel.
Morning. So you're the GLM contractor,
That's
foreign
right.
contractor. How many guys you got working here, Mike?
Average 10.
10 guys?
10 guys.
Is that the only place you got foreigners working?
No, I got 20 more, 2 different places, which brings up to 40 altogether.
And anybody got hurt this year so far? Or?
So far we got a good record.
Yeah.
So far we got a good record, and I hope we'll continue with this. It's highly dangerous job, and we are all aware of it. We should look after ourselves, take the virus every day, every minute, and try to survive through this rocket.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Okay, Marcel. Yep. Take care easy.
We're actually the first part of the logging system. We go into the bush and lay out the roads and the block boundaries, and then we grade, and the followers follow after.
Engineering.
Well, I've been doing that for a year now, just over a year.
Over here too.
Up here, yeah. So,
Very
yeah. Basically, we're working with the areas that have had no development yet, and we decide if it's worth going into it, like if there's good enough wood there for us to log it. And then once we decide if we want to go in there or not, we go out there and we have a look at it. It's called a reconnaissance. So we have a look at it, see if there's anything like rock bluffs or places where we couldn't put our road. And then what we try to do is we try to put in a road system and a falling line, and once we've done that, we come back and make maps, and then we give it to the fallers, and they'll go in and they'll fall the right of way, and then the loggers will come in after that and they'll log the area, and that'll be basically it. So we're just the initial stage in the development.
I'm employed by Western Forest Products to take care of their forestry program, and that involves, once we're finished harvesting an area, my job is to see that we establish the second crop, and as that second crop of trees develop, I'm to see that it's tended properly. Good, healthy forest for us in our second cut and our second row, because of whether we think the area should be left to naturally regenerate from normal seed, or if we are going to need to go to the area and replant it. And say, for example, here on the tree farm, we replant probably 70% of our areas, and we do that to speed up the regeneration. And also we like to get a good spruce mix, which if we leave it for natural regeneration, we won't get as much spruce as we might otherwise get. And anyway, once we've established a crop, then we sort of monitor it. We do have some surveys we do for about the first 5 years in the plantations. And then we start watching for brush, because that's the first thing we have to worry about, is the alder, and not so much salmonberry here because of the deer, but we have to watch for alder development, which will crowd out the conifers or the age. And then we get up to about age 15 or age 20, then we're looking at the stands for juvenile spacing. And that's like carrots in your garden. We're involved in thinning the stand out so we get better stand development. And, like I do, the way my job is, I'm mainly silviculture, which is tending the second forest. Then the engineers are mainly layout, but then both of us have sort of responsibility, because we're the people that talk with the government agencies, when the Forest Service is in, or Fish and Wildlife, or the Fisheries and Oceans guys are in. We're the ones that go and show them what we're going to do, and we tell them what we're going to do, and then that's the way we have to do it, So it's sort of our job, once we told them, we're not going to get shit in the creek.
If it turned out to be all right, then the government might look at it and make a park out of it.
That's right, that's the next stage, We grow a good forest, it's good enough for a park,
Grade foreman.
That's right.
That's right there. You're from where?
From Gordon River originally,
Yeah.
Lake Cowichan area.
And how long have you been with the company here?
37 years.
37.
Yep. I knew I wasn't going to stay when I signed on.
Yeah. So you look after the great crew. Can you explain a little bit what it's all about? Or?
Well, after you fallers fall right away, and we go in with our machines and put in the subgrade and then surface it, and then also maintain the old roads. Put in about 20 kilometers a year right now.
Yeah.
That's right, we build bridges too.
Idea how much it costs a foot to build roads around here? Or?
Around close to 70,000 a kilometer.
54, 75.
Right now, that's what we're going on.
Yeah.
Quite expensive.
Quite expensive. And what about that big rock cut there? Can you tell us how much it costs to go through that cut? Or?
We don't have the exact figures because part of it was contract, and we built this end of it.
Yeah.
But, I would say close to $1 million anyway.
Yeah. For about a quarter of a mile.
Yeah, for about a quarter of a mile.
Yeah.
It's over 100,000 yards of rock moved there.
So it was a lot of drilling and blasting.
It was all drilling and blasting, right?
The idea was going to win the Stanley Cup this year?
Toronto.
Toronto?
I say that every year. For the last 40 years I've been saying that.
Yeah. Well, I wish you good luck.
A few times I got lucky.
Back roads running through our forest were built by loggers' sweat and blood and tears. Hard rock didn't scare 'em, they could bore right through 'em out. It's a road inspector every logger fears. Let's drink a toast to all the road inspectors. Let's raise our glasses high and wish 'em health. They hold the future of each logger in the palm of their hand. The difference between bankruptcy and wealth. This logger thinks his road is finished. Our road inspector comes up on the scene, digging test holes in the gravel, measuring every turnout, snarling, snapping, growling, being mean. The logger'd like to grab his neck and choke him, but he keeps his cool and knows he'd better smile. If he'd do just what he'd like to do and poke him, he'd rebuild that whole darn road every mile. Let's drink a toast to all the road inspectors. Let's raise our glasses high and wish them health. They hold the future of each logger in the palm of their hand. The difference between bankruptcy and wealth.
To introduce two of my family here, two of my friends, which have been long-time buddies of mine. We've been working together for nearly 10 years or more. Now the reason that we are three men here on this job today on a Sunday is because of certain compensation rules. It requires at least two men to pack out an injured faller. Now that is the reason why we are three men altogether. I'd like to introduce you to Phil. He's a long-time friend of mine and a very experienced faller himself. And here's another very experienced faller.
Marcel. Pleased to meet you, Gary, again.
That turkey must taste better than my cigarette.
Oh, it tastes good.
This is Marcel. And they...
Try to take the picture.
Yes, we are only here for one specific purpose. On a Sunday morning to make this video for my family. And I appreciate it very much.
When you meet one on the street, you're gonna think there's the meanest man anybody'd want to meet. But when you really get to know one, that's when you'll understand. Where there walks a logger, there walks a man. I've seen two loggers stand toe-to-toe and slug it out in a free-for-all fight. And when it was over, they'd get up and shake hands and laugh and drink together the rest of that night. I've seen a logger pick up a baby bird and put it back into its nest. And I've never heard one criticizing a man when he knew he was doing his best. They're a rough, rowdy breed of people, but it's a rough life they live. And most of the time their job's demanding just a little bit more than they can give. They come home at night so doggone tired, bruised and cut and sore. Get up next morning with a big old grin and go right back out for more. To the same steep, muddy hillsides they were cussing the day before. Where there walks a logger, there walks a man. I think a logger loves his family just a little bit more than most men, as he knows if he makes just one mistake, he'll never get to see him again. Or a line could break or a tailhold slip and cut a man half in two. The dangers there lurking everywhere and the rewards are just all too few. But it's a life he chose, and whichever way it goes, his family will understand. Because when he walks into that door at night, they know that there walks a man. Loggers don't sit around much discussing church, religion, or prayer. But a wise man once said, if you ever get to heaven, you'll be surprised who you run into there. And when the last trumpet's been sounded, all of life's secrets unfold, we'll find more than one set of cork boot tracks on those streets that are solid gold. where there walks a logger, there walks a man. Stood on a hill overlooking a valley, at a newsstand of timber overtaking the land. And I thought of the young men replacing the old men. I guess that's the way nature had it all planned. Everything on this earth is allotted one lifespan, and events are all scheduled at nature's own pace. From the tiniest little plant to the tallest of the trees. And even man himself steps aside, lets another take his place. This giant timber industry has passed through a time that is over forever, and it's now just history. And now new men are standing where the old men once stood, and using brand new methods to harvest the tree. Back when these old men were young men, and this land was brand new, not many today realize how it was back then. And these mighty old loggers who conquered this savage land are fast becoming a vanishing breed of men. Where once you could hear the ring of an axe and the swish of a crosscut saw that these men pulled by hand, the canyons are filled with the sputtering of chainsaws, and giant monstrous machines are roaring over the land. Watch the old-time high climber as he stands by and looks at a giant steel tower rear her head into the sky. Man in his great wisdom can just never stand still. In the race he runs with time as she goes hurrying by. I can't help but feel my life's a little richer for having known some of these men. It's with pride and admiration that I shake their calloused hand. 'Cause to me, they're all heroes for the battles they fought, and not just a vanishing breed of man. I stood on a hill overlooking a valley, at a newsstand of timber overtaking the land. And I thought of the young men replacing the old men. I guess that's the way nature had it all planned.
That's me.
How long you been falling, Lou?
20 years.
20 years? Where's the other guy there?
Mr. Bullock.
Mr. Bullock? You from where, Mr. Bullock?
From Kamloops.
Kamloops? So how big was that snag?
10 and 4 inch.
10 and... Okay, we'll see you guys.
Adios.
That way, maybe that way. That's sure nice view, eh?
Beautiful.
Look at that. Still got that twig in front, eh? But it's better.
Can't be afraid of heights in this business, as Marcel shows you. Long ways down. Even if he is from Quebec, he's a good guy. Holy Christ. And that's what you call lucky, I'll tell you. That one. It was his lucky day. What a life, eh? That's Winter Harbor over there. That's the inlet behind Winter Harbor.
Hello, Marcel.
Yes, sir.
Looks like you got yourself quite the tree here.
I'll go to person. Yeah, that's a masterpiece, all right. Not that. The way they want the damn thing here with the regulation, there's a big ravine down there. There's the sideline. Actually, the tree would go better that way. But at least I got a few pusher on the other side. So I'm going to get rid of that hemlock there on the side and then put a big undercut and put it down the other way. Hopefully the two slabs going to follow each other because there's two pieces of, that tree is not in one piece, it's in two pieces. So, okay, so I'm not quite finished the undercut and I heard something that snapped off and I noticed that one slab went down here about at least 1 inch, half inch. So you want to take a look here, see the two cuts there? See this slab here, it's lower than the other one. See that crack there? So I'm going to try to clean the undercut as much as possible and hope for the best. See that seam there up top? So, not a good idea to stay in front.
Yeah, sometimes you're better off to leave a little bit of crap in the undercut and be out of the danger zone, eh?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll try to clean it up as much as possible from the other side. Not in front of that. And then get it from the side here, it should be okay. And then take it from there, I guess. We have to do that snag here. It's a see-through snag. So I have to put it this way. But it's a see-through snag, see? I go in. And I come out this side.
Yeah, I saw you in your machine today, the big snorkel there. How long is that boom there?
Oh, the snorkel by itself, without the boom, is 90 feet.
90 feet.
Yeah. And the boom is about 40 feet.
Yeah.
That gives you about 130 feet reach.
130 feet reach. That's quite a bit already.
Yeah. So it's a lot of wood for produced just with two guys.
Yeah.
So, look at that. The average about 6 loads a day, 6.5.
6, yeah. That's pretty good.
That's about 100. The last time I was in office, my average was 110 cubic meters per load.
Yeah.
So I lifted here. I lifted and loaded one 18 feet 3 inches diameter.
Is that right? A cedar or a spruce?
Spruce.
A spruce?
Yeah, 18 feet through.
Is that right?
I loaded it, most of it all on this guy next door here, Tom Drew.
Oh yeah.
And I put 4 of the logs on top of the stakes on his truck, 20 feet over height. And he was 20 feet over height, poor bugger, and went off the road and over the bank.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That was the big one. No? Yeah.
That was quite a day.
Is it pretty dangerous to fall?
Yeah, you got to be careful. It's not like falling a setting. It's when people are in a windfall patch like that, they usually pay more attention to where they're standing and what's going to roll and the unseen. Usually, there's a lot of stuff that moves that you can't see, like you would be in a quarter. Right? If you're bucking it, the root will fall back away from you, but lots of times they'll fall on top of you, so you can't hook them right clean. Like snags in a windfall patch, it's really quite hard because you've got nowhere to run because the wood itself is all laying on the ground already. So you have to really be careful on what you know what you're standing on. Just like the rigging, everybody has their job and they know what to do, and they try to be as safe as they can. Safety first. Yeah, that's it.
High lead log in your whistle punk is a little guy that sets out on the stump and blows in the signals to the yarder engineer. And your hook tender is the boss. This is the story of a little guy that was a whistle punk, and he wanted to be a hook tender in the worst way, and I guess in his own way, he finally made it. Whistle Punk Pete, he stood only 5 feet. He wasn't gonna get any bigger, but his main ambition was to hold a position of hook tender and head rigger. But everybody knew that unless he grew, he wasn't ever gonna make it. It takes a pretty big man that's an all-around hand. There's hardly any way you can fake it. You put a block and a strap on the little Pete's back, he'd head in the wrong direction, making new layouts and pulling haywire. He couldn't even pull one section, but he could climb all right. Didn't mind the height, but when he got to the top, oh golly, he was too small to tackle a guy lying shackled. He was running around with a gal downtown. She was fat, but kind of pretty. And we heard one day that they ran away, got married in a nearby city. He was happy with his wife. She was the love of his life. She had such a sweet disposition. But Whistle Punk Pete didn't know at the time she'd help him realize his ambition. Cause his little wife Myrtle wore a full-length girdle and had 23 hooks and eyes. Took a full half hour to hook her up every morning, much to little Pete's surprise. Well, he was hooking and blinking, his eyes began to blinking. He jumped up and let out a squall. He said, Myrtle, holy cow, if the crew could see me now, I'm a hook tender after all.
Time to go, eh? You had a good day? Yeah.
Hey, Bronco. We're getting a flat tire. Yeah? Yeah. All right, go check it.
Must be in the front, right?
And don't swear you on TV.
On the back roads and the highways, anywhere there's timberland, you'll find a different kind of breed of a truck driving man. They're the men who haul the timber from the woods down to the mill. They spend half their life hauling down some crooked steep side hill. Then they hit the highway blowing smoke with the barking dirt flying. All them cars they'd like to pass, but you don't see them trying. Even the traffic meeting him is pulling off the road. They're positive that he's gonna lose about 2/3 of that load. He'll be covered all over with mud or dust, depending upon the season. A big old smile you can see for a mile for no particular reason. If you're in trouble, he'll stop and help any way he can. He's a different kind of breed of a truck driving man. The state cops lay in wait for him to make just one mistake. He'll end up paying the state nearly every dime he'll make. They'll write him a ticket every time for one little misplaced log, while a Greyhound bus goes screaming by like a turpentine dog. And he hits the highway blowing smoke with the bark and dirt flying. All them cars they'd like to pass, but you don't see them trying. Even the traffic meeting him is pulling off of the road. They're positive that he's gonna lose about 2/3 of that load.
The nice typical Queen Charlotte weather, nice and foggy, raining.
Raining, yeah. A little bit windy.
For almost 25 years I've been in the bush now. I always run machines. I always wanted to run machines, run trucks specifically.
Yeah.
I should tell them just for the record that I am the best looking, the smartest, and the greatest truck driver that Saunders has ever had. So there. And I deserve twice the wages I'm getting.
Okay, I'll tell them that.
That ought to make a few people sick.
Well, I'm standing here in line just a-waiting to sign for my unemployment compensation. And what puzzles me is that our economy is booming across the rest of the nation. Well, they tell me we'll get back to logging about June, and there'll be lots of jobs again. But what I haven't paid for will go right out the door. It's dough, meat, and beans till then. And the longer I stand here, the less I find for these things in life I gotta stand in line for. And what causes me my most aggravation is drawing unemployment compensation. I make $44 a day once a week when I turn in my little white book. They ask me silly questions, they make unfair suggestions, and they give me a suspicious look. I say nope, I didn't have any earnings last week, and yes, I'm looking for work. They act real funny like it was their money and I was some kind of a jerk. And the longer I stand here, the less I find for these things in life I gotta stand in line for. And what causes me my most aggravation is drawing unemployment compensation. The most fantastic feats ever heard of in logging have come out of our great Northwest. And each outfit naturally claims their men are beyond doubt the very best. But out in the woods where they should be discussing the best logging method to use, these legendary giants will no doubt be sitting around talking about women and booze. In the hard driving rain out on steep wild terrain where you have to think fast just to live, they'll probably be thinking of some gal they know and a party she's planning to give. By the fireside at lunch, this rough, rowdy bunch won't be discussing the trees. It'll probably be the best brand of bourbon or some little gal with shapely knees. All the tales they spin of wild women and gin in the city with all of its thrills. And the best of their drinking and fighting and loving is done right out here in the hills. Come with me now on a Saturday night to a bar room in some logging town. There'll always be a few of these modern Paul Bunyans drinking and hanging around. All the music is loud and pretty girls in the crowd wouldn't be too hard to get. Look there at a bunch of these mountain men lovers at a table in a corner where they sit. Drinking and laughing and talking real loud with their hands drawing pictures in the air. They must be discussing that pretty new barmaid with the soft eyes and long golden hair. Move closer, now listen. They're not even mentioning whiskey, women, and thrills. They're all talking logging, cutting, or trucking, and feats performed out in the hills. It's the same the world over. Men are all much alike, regardless of what their jobs are. And here in my country, it's a fact the best logging is always done in some bar.
It looks like we're not going to log anymore. Clean up what we got there. It looks like it's gone. We're going to make a big park down there for a big year. And then after that, we don't know what that will be. We'll be devastated after that.
A year and a half that we know of. And
If, unless, hey now, something could change on this whole Lyle Island thing, but it doesn't.
what's going to happen to that crew down there? Are you going to try and compensate anybody, or?
Well, this is what people are asking the government for. That are fighting us now. Let's get into the schools, and they got these kids, they're teaching them.
Oh, it's all over the TV now.
Yeah.
TV
Hug a
programs,
tree.
news.
Yeah, and the ones that make the most stink, they've never been out in the bush. They don't know what the hell's on. Good, you know, you got a real good example. McMillan, what's it called? McMillan Park there outside of Port Alberni. The bloody trees are falling down, and they got to cut some of them down because they're dangerous to the public.
Yeah. And nobody lucky.
Oh, I mean, it's a park that is really really well enjoyed by the people. But the thing is, the trees are so damn old now that they're literally being blown down and rotting. You know, they're no good for lumber anymore either. They're no good for anything. And that's your park.
On the kids when they do go out.
It's a culture shock. It takes them a while. Even me, it takes Dave and I a while to get, because the pace is so much faster. And it takes a while to get into the swing of things.
And then it's nice to be back again.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Get back home. No, that's what's scary about the cities for me, is that it's so impersonal.
Yeah.
You know, you can't trust your neighbor. You don't know what they're like, and you don't dare let your kids do anything by themselves.
Yeah.
You know, here you know when they leave the house and they're going to their friend's house, they're going to get there and they're going to get home again. You know, the hall would just be packed. You know, we all couldn't fit in the lounge.
Is that right?
Especially if there was a family dinner or whatever. There's no way. You'd line the hall with tables all the way around, and you'd just get everybody in. And now you don't even fill one room.
Yeah. Was it people, they went back home, or what? Did they find another job when they moved away?
Yeah, just like their kids got too old for the school, or you know, they'd made the money they came to save, and just slowly moved out.
Thank you.
One thing is running kind of smooth, and I'm picking up a little slack. And my bank account's almost out of the red, edging over into the black. And once in a while I'm even wearing a smile instead of just a constant frown. The weather's holding good and we're moving the wood. Well, that's when something breaks down. That's when something breaks down. After 2 good months, I made a down payment on a brand new pickup and car. And that big new boat, I don't know if it'll float, 'cause time will only stretch so far. I got a brand new camper, a brand new rifle, 'cause hunting season's coming around. And big dumb me, I should be able to see that something is sure to break down. Something is sure to break down. Well, that's when I feel like bunching this outfit and just up and walking away. Quit jippo-logging it, get me a job, at least I'll be drawing some pay. But I can't quit now, I'm in too deep, I owe everybody in town. And it's a race to see if my equipment and me is the first to completely break down. I promised my kids I'd buy him a car if he'd just stay in school. And my wife talked me into getting all new furniture. Now how's that for being a fool? My daughter's in college, needed a car and a big old apartment in town. More people than me better spray constantly that none of my equipment breaks down. None of my equipment breaks down. I don't mean to say that there ain't times a lady luck smiles on me. That's what keeps the jippo-logger a-going, and the bright side is all he can see. Oh, he's doing what he loves what he's doing when the logs are rolling into town. But he still cuss and swear and pull out his hair each time something breaks down. Each time something breaks down. Well, that's when I feel like bunching this outfit, just up and walking away. Quit jippo-logging and get me a job, at least I'll be drawing some pay.
but I can't quit now. I'm in too deep. I owe everybody in town. And it's a race to see if my equipment or me is the first to completely break down.
To the first, I'm not sure if it's going to be annual, but we certainly hope it is, W.D. Moore and Western Forest Products Employee Appreciation Safety Awareness Dinner. Our company, Mr. Roger Manning, to say a few words to you.
Our special guests, I'd like to say hello to Keith Bennett and Union Jack. But there's one continuing problem we all have in the logging industry, and it's been with us for years, and I'm afraid it's going to be with us for years to come, and that's the problem of safety. We've come a long way in this company over the almost 40 years that I've been with it. About 35 years since we've started really working on safety, and really in all that time we haven't come very far, but I can mention one thing this year. In all of the yarding and loading crews of the companies that are running the company operations, there's only been one slip and fall accident. Just one accident, one slip and fall. It wasn't.
Mr. Jack Monroe.
Thank you, Harvey. The IWA, which is you people, and I have the privilege to be the director of it for a while, don't really know what the hell are we going to do about these accidents. What are we not doing that people can catch on to say that killing 50 people a year in our goddamn industry is too many? But really, we are all so keenly interested and so keenly dedicated to make sure that our brothers or our sisters that we work beside us don't get hurt. And if anybody can come up with a solution, then for goodness sake, let's get at it. Whether it's additional training, whether it's certification of certain jobs or what it is. But there is nothing so wasteful as a person who is capable of working, being at home with something broken or hurt. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Dolman, I talked to Webster. I said to Webster, I'm going up to Holberg, and Webster was the only guy in the media that I could get interested in when we were trying to save Lyle Island. And he did a hell of a job for us, and he's truly a worker and believes in workers. And so he said, well, say hello to him for me. And I said, certainly. I said, I got to tell him a story, though, your favorite story. He said, okay, tell him this one. So he tells me this story, and I've heard it several times, but I didn't want to screw it up, so I wrote it down. So I won't read my notes. There were two fellas who passed away and were at the pearly gates trying to get into heaven. And St. Peter says, now, why should I let you characters in here? What have you done? What did you do on earth? And they said, well, we were poets, St. Peter, and one fellow says, my name was William Shakespeare, and the other fellow says, well, my name is Robbie Burns. So St. Peter says, well, if you were poets, then you should give me a sample of your work before I let you through the pearly gates. So they said, well, that's certainly no problem. So St. Peter said, I want you to quickly tell me a poem that uses the phrase Timbuktu. So William Shakespeare starts off very quickly and says, I walked across the glowing land, trod upon the golden sand. 2 sailing ships came into view, destination Timbuktu. So St. Peter says, that's not bad, Willie, come on in. And, Robbie Burns, anybody knows anything about Scotch history, was a bit of a rounder, like Louis Graham, there's not a damn thing wrong with that. Stood up and said, Tim and I a-walking went, spied 3 ladies in a tent. since they were 3 and we were 2, I buck 1 and Tim buck 2.
Now I'd like to call on Mr. Bill Moore to come up and join me in this hot seat up here.
Have had great responsibility on their shoulders for this industry, and they wear it well. They are both people so keenly observant of this industry. You and myself and everybody else is very lucky to have such two people that can work through the difficult problems that there are today and come here and sit down and enjoy and laugh and be together and meet. And I think it's a tribute to both of them and to the system and to this bloody industry too, which is a damn good industry. A toast to the lager. A glass of beer at the West Hotel. And a jug of rye in back of the bunkhouse. And a cup of home brew from behind the cookhouse stove. And a shot of wine at a bootlegger's house. Or a thermos of coffee on a windswept proving grounds. Or a handful of water from a side hill stream. These are the liquids of lagers. And long may they wet their thirsty tongues. Ladies and gentlemen, the lagers. Thank you, Harvey.
Please welcome Mayor Jim Larney. Welcome to Vancouver Island's Yellow Ribbon Day. I think it's something very, very special. Seeing all of you here united in a common cause delivers a very compelling message. We're all in this together. And if you haven't already introduced yourself to the people around you, why don't you do so now? I think you'll agree that we have a lot in common, and we'll need to stick together.
The message to the people of British Columbia has to be that the price of the core report is too high for this province to pay. It's just too much. They're asking for anything special. They don't want UIC. They don't want welfare. They just want the opportunity to go to work in the morning in a forest industry that's providing a sustainable resource in this province for years to come.